So in this speech, I'm going to be speaking and critiquing on a classmate's speech regarding the book we've been reading, An Essential Guide to Public Speaking. And that classmate is Vanessa Rowe. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. And so first off, just great job on your speech. I felt like you did a really good job covering the summary of the book, and you made some really good points really throughout your entire speech. I think you explained each chapter very well and did a good job of explaining Schultz's main points in each chapter. And chapter 7 specifically was a really good topic that focused on having a biblical foundation in our speech and also how to speak biblically throughout our speech. And that's what you talked about, and that is something that really stood out to me when I was reading this book, and I felt like you did a really good job explaining that. And so the first thing I want to go over and critique is the start of the speech. You kind of jump off right into the summary of the book without giving an introduction or thesis. I think later towards the end you do have a thesis, but it comes near the end. And so ultimately it's really important that you have an introduction and thesis at the beginning of the speech so that your audience is aware of the material you're about to speak on, and your thesis really helps wrap up your introduction and is really the main center of what you're going to be saying in your speech. And so having both of these things is very crucial before really going into the rest of your speech. Another thing I would critique is the speed of your speech. I know that it's really hard to get a lot of this information into your speech, but it's also important that you speak in a way that can help the audience really understand that what you're saying, and you're not don't want to rush the video. And so this wasn't throughout the entire speech, but there were some times I noticed that you went on to the next point rather quickly, and it was hard for me to kind of switch my focus to the next topic ahead because of that. I would also encourage you not to move a lot in your speech. From one of the articles I've been adapting to this video, I've been reading called The 9 Tips to Improve Your Public Speaking Skills. And so one of these points is how important it is to not move so much when giving your speech. And hand gestures is something I think is really good, and that's great. But throughout the speech, I did notice that you were moving a lot just in general. Another thing I want to critique is your focus more on the summary of the book and not adding a lot of critical evaluation. In a way, you were evaluating the material as you went along throughout the summaries of your chapters, but I think you should have talked a little bit more about the impact that Schultz made through you as you're trying to become better at public speaking. And I think you could have mentioned some of the ways the book spoke to you personally, or what you think you could improve on doing as a speaker from reading the book. And I think you could have mentioned things that you liked that Schultz spoke on, or some things that you saw were wrong on his part maybe. And these are some things that I think you could have added in your conclusion as well. Overall, great job on the speech. You still did a really good job of providing a good amount of information, and it was clear that you did learn a lot from reading this book, and so I hope that what I had to say and what I critiqued was very beneficial and helpful to you. So thanks.